Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. Not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Crisco's Corner. From PJ Media, one of my biggest fears of this new administration and the new Congress, packing the Supreme Court. Now, it's been talked about in the past. FDR wanted to do it. Other presidents wanted to do it. In fact, if I remember, Abraham Lincoln wanted to throw a couple of justices, I think it was a chief justice, in jail. So, this isn't anything new, but I think this time it has a better chance of happening than prior to that. Is that chance still a good chance? I don't know. I'm not a soothsayer. Let's read on. Biden announces commission to study best way to pack the Supreme Court with radicals. President Joe Biden has announced the formation of a bipartisan commission to study ways to reform the Supreme Court, including packing it with radical Democrats. And of course, they're going to say we're talking about reforms and not just that's a right-wing talking point. We're going to talk about term limits and age restrictions and, whatever else, blah, blah, blah. It's always going to fall on the fact as a Democrat president, when somebody leaves the court, that's probably their shot. But the pendulum swings the other way. But the problem is, if you pack the court with progressive radicals and leftist radicals, it'll change the country so much. Even if it ends up being conservative, it'll take an entire generation to just wipe it out as far as freedoms go. The commission's purpose is to provide analysis of the principal arguments in the contemporary public debate for and against the Supreme Court reform, including an appraisal of the merits and legality of particular reform proposals, the White House said in a statement. When do they give a damn about it being legal? Never about them before. The topics it will examine include genesis of reform debate. I love how they word this stuff. Genesis of reform debate. What the hell does that even mean in English? I know what they're trying to say, but, these guys, they talk in circles on purpose, I think, just to confuse the issue or mask it. The court's role in the constitutional system, the length of service and turnover of justices on the court, the membership and size of the court, and court's case selection, rules, and practices. And there you have it. Selection, rules, and practices, and size of court. There's much to be considered about in the commission's mandate. It's disturbing that the commission wants to examine the court's role in the constitutional system. Indeed, the Constitution says nothing about the Supreme Court being the final arbitrator of constitutional questions. It's one of those traditions that both Congress and executive have long recognized for 200 years. That's true. That's one of the few things in the Constitution that the founders messed up on. One is the exact power of the Supreme Court, the number of individuals on the Supreme Court, and that back then they had the second place candidate for voting as for the presidential election was automatically the vice president. That was a huge mistake. That was later changed. So it wasn't a perfect document. Damn near, though. Both George Washington and John Adams, the first two presidents, believed the president should determine if a law is constitutional. It wasn't until Chief Justice John Marshall's Maury versus Madison decision that the issue was settled in favor of the Supreme Court. That's true. That's what I mean by, in the Constitution, the Supreme Court's authority or power or final say over things was not made clear. If not the Supreme Court, who would decide constitutional questions? You really think, you honestly, even you Biden voters out there, do you honestly and truly think that Joe Biden is capable, or any of his people that are running him are capable of what the constitutional law is and what isn't? Are you freaking serious? Court packing would be legal, but ill-advised. It's true the Constitution says nothing about how many justices should be named to the Supreme Court, But a blatant power grab by radical Democrats to pack the court would almost certainly diminish its power and respect among citizens. And that's the thing. It'll become a farce, a kangaroo court, if you will. Who's going to pay any attention to it? If you're in a very, very red state, and the Supreme Court, the new 13-seat Supreme Court says you can't do this and this concerning free speech or right to bear arms or any other of the rights, they just won't follow it because they think the court's a joke. There's nothing that will disintegrate a republic faster than two things. One, not believing in the judicial system, and two is not believing in the integrity of the voting system. Those two things will erode a republic quick. Biden promised during the campaign to form a commission to study judicial reform, including adding members to the Supreme Court. And while it's normal for a president to use the idea of a commission to punt on taking a controversial stand, Biden will be under enormous pressure to adopt the commission's recommendations, making this commission much more than just window dressing. Basically what he's saying is he's throwing red meat to the hungry leftists and progressives, the AOC types, and those nut bars. Is he just doing that just to appease them temporarily so they'll heal a little bit and stop barking so much, as they say? I don't know. See, that's the thing. Is it more than just window dressing? This is dangerous stuff. Not new. See, what I mean by this is not new is this has been talked about and to death for a couple of centuries. But the problem is, I think these mental pygmies might actually do it. 36-member panel will be led by Bob Bauer, who served as White House counsel for former President Barack Obama, and Christina Rodriguez, a Yale Law School professor who served as Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the Office of Legal Counsel in the Obama administration. Alarm bells should be going off. I wish I had some alarm bells in my sound effects here. I'm going to have to get some here. Toilet flushing is going to be another good one. However, as the commission is not set to issue specific guidance at the conclusion of its study, it remains to be seen if the panel will ultimately clarify Biden's stance on the issue. Now, what the commission will decide is what the progressives and leftists that are running this country now through the presidency will want the commission to say or do. They'll say it's bipartisan, but I don't buy it for a minute. Bipartisan, huh? See, even the writer here doesn't agree. This is exactly what soon-to-be retired Justice Stephen Breyer was worried about when he warned against court reform. Stephen Breyer is no conservative by any means, and he is even concerned. I hope and expect that the court will retain its authority, Breyer said. But that authority, like the rule of law, depends on trust. Yeah, that you don't think the court is a joke. That you just start disobeying laws because you know they're ridiculous and frivolous. Like you can't have more than 5 people at your house over on Easter Sunday. That kind of stupidity. I trust that the court is guided by legal principle, not politics. Well, we know politics has always been a huge factor in the Supreme Court. That theory goes, politics is always involved. Used to be, well, supposedly, it's supposed to be, are you competent enough to fulfill the duties of the Supreme Court justice, i.e. a lawyer or your personal experience, or whatever it is. Now it's, can you pass law school? You don't have to be the top 10% of your class, but you have to believe less politically the people in Congress that are doing the voting. It's really always been that way, but it's been way more hectic now. And I'll tell you the truth, honestly, look at Clarence Thomas. I've yet to watch his documentary. I have it. I purchased it. I have it on my computer. He went through hell. Now, those of us remember Anita Hill. Remember all that nonsense. And who was the biggest antagonist and just muckraker and just ridiculous member of Congress? Joe Biden. Go back and look at some old tapes. They're probably on YouTube or some other sites. It was pretty bad. Almost as bad as Kavanaugh, but not quite. See, the way it works is even if the Republicans are in control of the Senate, who approves the Supreme Court justice selections by the president, Republicans usually go along with it because of the fact the person is qualified, i.e., they have the background and or intelligence to do the job. The Democrats, on the other hand, well, I don't even call them Democrats anymore. The progressives and leftists want ideology first, competency second. And therein lies the danger. It'll make the court a farce. And when states and counties and individuals stop obeying court orders because they think the whole thing's a kangaroo court and a joke, that's when things fall apart. Structural alteration motivated by the perception of political influence can only feed that perception, further eroding that trust. We'll say tomorrow they click their fingers and they can put 13 members on the court now. They're going to add 4. All left-wing nut bars. All of them. They'll be close to 50-odd million people, maybe even more. It'll be totally shut out of our government, in this case, the judicial branch making decisions. Almost half the country will have no say or influence over its own laws. That, folks, is incredibly dangerous. That over half the people of the United States will think the Supreme Court is a joke. And those of you out there that will love Roe v. Wade, how about if it went the other way? States just start disregarding Roe v. Wade's decision and saying that the Supreme Court is a joke and a farce. So we're not going to honor the Supreme Court's ruling in Roe v. Wade in this state. No abortions, period. That's what will happen. The sword cuts both ways. And then as states start trying to get more independent, the federal government puts pressure on them. They pressure back. It's kind of like somebody pushing on an open door. Somebody's going to give. Somebody's going to go flying. And we remember when Lincoln got sworn in, what happened. And these things like this are small baby steps to that disintegration of the greatest, most powerful, most compassionate, and wealthiest country on earth. Until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.